It's occurring to me right now that I have no idea what's going on with the music. I mean, I can hear music, but the way I've got this thing rigged up, you could be hearing it from two different sources, and it could be really, really whacked. Certainly that's not my intention. Bob Doyle here, and if you just noticed, my voice changed because for some reason the EQ on my mixing board was all wacky, padacky. You're listening to another exciting episode of Bob Doyle's Timeline. Filmed in front of a live studio audience. Not. Okay, so, first of all, the odds that anybody's listening live to this are almost zero. I never promote this. It's one of these things where the only reason I'm even doing this podcast right now is that later today I'll be doing another one. And it's been a long time, and it won't be here. I'll tell you in a moment. It won't be here on the timeline. It'll be an episode of Fun with Bob and Lynn that I do with Lynn Rose. And when I say that I do that with Lynn Rose, it's almost a lie because we haven't done one in so long. But we do them sporadically, and our goal is, of course, to get more regular with them because, how are you ever going to develop a following if you're not consistent? Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? Am I right? Okay. Hold on a second. It's morning here in Duluth, Georgia, where I am currently broadcasting from. And, I actually am broadcasting. It used to be, broadcasting, you had to be over the air. But now there's more potential reach right now. I'm broadcasting, of course, live to my Facebook timeline, which is why I call it Bob's Timeline, which is just the stupidest name, I know. But also this is going to SoundCloud. It's going to YouTube. It's going to iTunes eventually. That's broad. This is a cast that is broad. Okay, so anyway, as I was saying, later today there will be a live episode of Fun with Bob and Lynn, and that will be found at funwithbobandlynn.com or on our fan page, which I think is facebook.com/Fun with Bob and Lynn. And we'll have a guest today, which I'm very excited about. And I want to say 5 things at once. My guest will be my friend Rob Scott. He and I used to do a internet radio show. Wow, how long ago was it? 10 years ago, something like that. Called The Lounge Show or The Aloha Lounge, or I think it was a lounge show. And back then we were broadcasting on a service called Live 365, which is still around today. But, sorry, they charged, too much money for their service, and I got Spreaker. And yesterday upgraded to their premium service so that I could broadcast for more than 30 minutes. And I think there's other little perks as well. There better be, actually. I think there's statistical whatever. So the goal, of course, is to get statistics. And you can't get statistics without listeners. So I actually, just as I said, I would have to say, that was a nice laugh. I would have to say that 85% of the time when I turn this app on, it's to test something and not actually a show. So, but I decided this time I'm going to go live with it and see what happens. In fact, let's go check out my Facebook page right now and make sure it's actually happening. So I'm going to my timeline, and there it is. And the description's there and everything. It says, Bob Doyle broadcast a podcast on Spreaker. It says at Marina Del Rey, California, because that's how I've got it set up in Spreaker for my location. And yeah, it even does the whole thing. So let's see what happens if I click on the play button. It used to play right there in Facebook. Now it goes over to the Spreaker page in Spreaker for my location. How about that? You hear it live because it's going through the system. It even does the whole thing. So let's see what happens if I click. All right. So that's working. That's a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. We like it when it works. And so I did go to my wall, which is good. And I don't know I don't think there's any other place. Well, it's streaming obviously here on the Spreaker page. So anyway, here's the dealio. So Rob and I will be here in Duluth, and I'll explain why. It's not like, what, Duluth? Why? Why would they be in Duluth? This is crazy. I can't wait till he gets to that part of this. And yeah, I'm sipping coffee because, as I said, it's morning time. Well, it's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, almost 8:57 for those of you who are like that. And I used to be, so I understand. Morning time. So coffee, yeah. So that's kind of part of the morning deal. Even though, you know what, I drink entirely too much coffee. As you can tell, because I can't complete a thought. The thought being broadcasting later today, Fun with Bob and Lynn. So Lynn is actually on the West Coast. She'll be in L.A. or Marina del Rey. And Rob will be here today in the Palatial Studios here in Duluth, Georgia. And we'll be connecting with Lynn in a very interesting technological way because Spreaker isn't in and of itself set up to do that kind of thing. You can use Skype and that deal, but it was just too much of a behind-the-scenes mess. I could never get it to work, okay? I couldn't get it to work. So today what we'll be doing is connecting with Lynn via FaceTime on our iPhone and running the audio. Are you taking notes? Running the audio out of the phone into the mixing board. And the reason we're doing that is so that she doesn't sound like she's on the phone. So it sounds better. FaceTime, obviously, a much better... Well, I shouldn't say obviously. Some people don't have iPhones. Oh, dear. Okay. And then we'll also be able to actually see her. So it's almost like we're sharing a studio and she's just in the other booth. So is that cool or what, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. I know the use of sound effects is so ridiculously goofy. I mean, I was in radio for a long time, and this is the kind of stuff I make fun of. Morning radio that used to have to do that. You used to have clapping and doors opening and closing and ridiculous things like that and laughter. And now, those of us who moved on from that and went into talk radio, actual talk radio, realize that that's just so goofy. And yet here I am doing it. Why? You know why? I'll tell you exactly why. Because I can. I'm running my iPad through the mixing board too, and it's running an app called Sound Slate, which is like a virtual cart machine, if you know what that is. Those of you in the know, cart machine. Antiquated technology now. Used to actually put these 8-track tape-looking things into machines, and they'd have sound effects and music, and you'd push a button, and it would play. And that's what this is simulating. So I've got all these sound effects and music and things like that on that. The Spreaker application actually has that too, but it's a little more cumbersome than this. Just push this button and it plays. So yeah. So we'll be using all of that technology to deliver a live show tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is a reminder that just went off on my phone and on my iPad. And do you know what it said? I get it every day at 9 o'clock. You know what my reminder is? That's right. It actually says, love myself. Isn't that nice? Because sometimes you just have to be reminded to do that. Because we just get so darn busy. Okay. I'm going to go over to my DJ console. Yes, still happening, still broadcasting. And 8 minutes, 54 seconds now into this broadcast. Now, before, I was limited to 30 minutes, and I'm clearly not, going to go over 30 minutes for this. It's a test broadcast, and I don't even really have, anything to talk about, clearly. And I'm looking around my space here, and so here's what's happening. I'll just share a little bit, but we'll be talking about it a little bit on the Fun with Bob and Lynn show later, among other things. And I should, I'll see. Now I think I'm trying to navigate 11 different things at once. Yeah. Okay, so, today, Rob Scott, who the aforementioned, is coming out today because I'm getting ready for a cross-country move. And that's a big deal. And I've got stuff I'm 47 years old. I've accumulated a lot of stuff. And I somehow have to get some of my stuff from here, East Coast, to their West Coast. And, I'm not at all ready. And that move is supposed to take place mid-June. And today is the 4th of May. And for a good 2 weeks or so of that time, I'll be in L.A. doing events and whatnot because I'm very famous. Yeah, so it's a little overwhelming. I'm looking around and going, wow, what do I do with all these books? And what do I do with all these chords? And what do I do with this and that? And there's if you don't know about it, you know, can check it out, but it's called freecycle.org, which actually Lynn told me about. And it's just a way for you to post stuff to give away, unlike Craigslist where, you know, you're selling it, although I understand that Craigslist has a free section too. Free Cycle, you get on there and say, I got all these chords, and people will actually come and just take your box of chords, and they'll take your books, and they'll take your whatevers that you want to get rid of and you don't want to deal with the selling. Because how am I going to sell a box of chords? I mean, seriously, I'm going to go through each cable. Well, here's an RCA cable from 1987. Don't know if it works or not, but let's say $1.75. Yeah, no way. You just clear it out. But there's so much here. I've already twice done free cycle drop-offs of, you know, old electronic stuff, broken laptops. I had somebody come and pick up 6 laptops that do not work, and they wanted them, and they knew they didn't work. So just a little tip for those of you who just go, what do I do with all this stuff? And you know, it's a pain to get rid of electronics because, you know, you can't just throw them in the dumpster. You're not supposed to anyway, but boy, have I been tempted lots of times the past year. I've been carrying those laptops around in my trunk for literally almost a year. Because Best Buy will take them, but you can only drop off 3 items at a time. And really, that's not really efficient because I have to drive back and forth, and I'm destroying the environment with this task of yours, with this 3-item limitation. Thanks, Best Buy. Thanks a lot. I kind of have to sip like that, by the way, so you know that I'm not just being quiet. Actually, I don't. Okay, so I got rid of some of that stuff. But I got these boxes in storage. I'm like, really? Really? So the plan is really to minimize, and put as much as I can in storage here in Atlanta, and just deal with it later. Because the move across country will be via car. So I just load up the car with my bare essentials and then just sort of, as I come back, because I'll be coming back on a regular basis, deal with that stuff or whatever. It really is so overwhelming that I can't even comprehend. So it's like try and make it. Rob actually advised me, make this as simple on yourself as possible. What's the simplest thing to do? Get the bare essentials, put the rest in boxes, put it in storage, deal with it later. Because I don't have time to do it in any other way. And I almost feel like I don't have the time to do it this way. Are you people even listening to me? No. Yeah, it's interesting because, I'm on the Facebook page and, no one's listening. And that's okay because I really was just testing the technology. And sometimes I test myself to see, well, how long can I go and keep talking with absolutely nothing to say? I mean, how many minutes would that, last time I did it, I went for 30. I did 30 minutes, and that was right before Christmas that I did the Why Not Now episode of the Bob's Timeline podcast. And eventually, actually, some people heard it and commented on it and everything. But, I think podcasting like this is just, it's therapeutic. It just get on and just, and whether people listen or not, whatever. But what if they did? Like, what if all of a sudden it just got crazy and everyone's listening to me saying nothing? But, anyone can have a podcast, and that gets a little irritating because, there's just so much nothing on the internet already. Do we really need to add more? And obviously my answer is, well, of course I do. In Spreaker, which is, again, the technology I'm using to create this amazing piece of broadcast history, you can create as many different shows as you want. So I've got Bob's Timeline. I've got something called Bob Doyle Live. I've got Fun with Bob and Lynn. I'll probably do one on reinvention soon, and you can just create as many shows, and then each show has its own episodes, and each show sends the episode live to the Facebook page of your choice that you own and manage. It also sends to SoundCloud, but you can only send to one account. So I've got this SoundCloud account, which is where I put my music, and now it gets cluttered up with all these podcasts. But you know what? Fine. Let it clutter until I figure out a way to organize it better. So yeah, just this haphazard shotgun approach to life. Oh, dear. Maybe this show should last as long as this cup of coffee, which isn't much longer, by the way. I am down to the bottom. I'm finding that I never finish like the last 4 sips of any given cup of coffee because it gets cold or room temperature, and I cannot do that. If it's not hot or really warm, it's coffee's an unpleasant experience. I mean, the iced coffee thing, I don't get it. Having said that, I do enjoy the occasional frozen coffee drink. So it's a fine line. As long as the ice is really, really crushed, I'll drink iced coffee. Oh yeah, there's got to be a lot of sugar in it. But just put iced coffee, even sugared. Yeah, gross. That's gross. That's really weird. It's kind of like that distinction that, I don't remember where I read this. I'm actually about to finish this cup of coffee, and then I'll finish this thought, and then I'll finish this show. But I don't want this to get cold for the aforementioned reasons. One moment. Actually, I've got another sip after this. Okay, really trying to cut down on my coffee intake, by the way, because I'm starting to feel it. You know how sometimes you just drink coffee because you got nothing else to do? That's a really bad reason to drink anything, actually, except water. Water, bring it on. Or wheatgrass juice. Okay, but I digress. The distinction about saliva, actually. We walk around... Wow. It's going to drive me crazy not remembering where I got this from. But we walk around all the time with saliva in our mouths. Am I right? Am I right? All right, so we walk around with saliva in our mouth. We don't think anything of it. But if you were to spit that saliva out into a glass, the idea of putting it back in your mouth would be absolutely repulsive, right? I mean, it's like, I would never do that. And yet, what is the freaking difference? So I just want you to ponder that as you go through your day today. Now that should have actually started over from the beginning. So why didn't it? There we go. Okay. Well, this has been fun, huh? I had 18 minutes of it. And, wow, the cards and letters just keep pouring in. And so, again, tonight, 7 o'clock, Fun with Bob and Lynn podcast. And I will probably... Even though it doesn't automatically post over here, I will probably post and share that it's happening. Because Lynn will make me. And so, yeah, you have the opportunity to listen to 3 people talk about absolutely nothing. And, oh, wait, you know what? Stop the presses. I have to tell you about this. Speaking of talking about nothing, I found this yesterday. I don't know if you're familiar with Crackle. It's an online, it's kind of like Hulu. You can watch videos and movies and stuff. Especially if you like commercials, you'll be a fan of Hulu. But there's a show on there that I'd never heard of, and I found by accident yesterday, just running the app on my phone, called Two Comedians in a Car Drinking Coffee. And it's Jerry Seinfeld in a different car in every episode. And it's like, it's more like a podcast because it seems as though it can be 15, 20 minutes, 30, whatever it is. And it's just pretty much them. He gets a different car every week, picks up a different comedian, and they drive around and they go have coffee and they talk about whatever. Very Seinfeldian in the fact that it's pretty much about nothing, but very interesting. And the first episode that I saw yesterday was with Michael Richards, who played Kramer on Seinfeld. It was just really cool. So if you were a Seinfeld fan and at all, then I would highly recommend going over to Crackle. I guess it's crackle.com. I don't know. Like I say, I run the app. And check out this show two comedians in a car drinking coffee. I also saw him talk with Brian Regan, if you're a comedy fan. And if you're not a comedy fan, then, you're not going to do this anyway. And Ricky Gervais, who was, in the British version of The Office, and is a very, very funny comedian. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm going to really end this, now that I've given you that amazing entertainment tip, so that you can chew up 20 to 30 minutes of your day getting absolutely nothing done except watching other people drive around and drink coffee. So this has been another episode of Bob's Timeline, a 21-minute-ish version of it. Tell your friends and family, and I'll see you. No, I won't. I will fill your headspace next time.